So Razia, you've been, a spiritual teacher for a long time in different cities in Toronto, in Canada. So what's your advice for women who feel like they don't have a spiritual community or they don't feel fulfilled within the one that they're in?
So I think a lot of Muslim women are struggling and finding, their place, and just I think being bombarded with the different responsibilities and hats that they wear in their lives, and so oftentimes what takes the brunt of it is the relationship with God and that growth. That really fuels, I think, everything else that we can do and excel in our lives. So I think oftentimes women will say, well, I don't have like a halakha or some kind of gathering I can attend for those reminders. And so I'll read something online or I'll watch like a YouTube lecture on my own. And there's a power of community. There's so many verses in the Quran where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about the power of Jama'ah. And there's a reason why the Prophet, when he went to Medina, peace and blessings be upon him, the first thing he did was establish the brotherhood and then establish the mosque, because he understood the importance of making sure that people were connected to each other. So I think many times as women, we may have our social network online and we think that's it, but really it's not someone we can just pick up the phone and talk to and who would give us that goodness. He had that reminder and connect us back to God. And, the heart rusts, the heart collects dust just as, and it needs that continuous polishing. So I would say that there's actually, once again, you make time for the things that matter to you. So I think even if you were to just call up 3 friends and be like, hey, I'm really feeling down when it comes to my faith. Like I don't feel strong. And many people, especially with Islamophobia and all the things that we hear online, it's stronger than ever for us to take care of our inner peace, our inner relationship with Allah. And that happens by sometimes leaning on each other as well. Obviously, there's the individual work we got to do, but you need that support system. And I can't tell you how many times I've sat in a gathering where you hear a hadith or a verse that you've heard so many times, but being there together, that energy, and it exists, that energy within the group, you feel so much more uplifted and you walk away feeling like, yes, like I just got a boost that I needed. And it's not to say like that should be our sole one. Take it, utilize that tool. So I think,
especially when we're living in a place where many people aren't Muslim, and so you're kind of struggling with your faith against the grain.
Absolutely, yeah. And unfortunately, the reality is that you may go to a mosque 4 times a week, that's like the best case scenario, right? But rarely happens. So let's say you could go to a mosque 4 times a week and you would still walk away maybe not knowing anyone in that mosque. That's the reality we live in and you can't ignore that. So it's so important that we utilize the circles that we are part of. And like I said, you would be surprised that by reaching out to one person, how maybe they're going through something. We're like, wow, I need that too. And it's a simple thing as getting together and be like, okay, we're just going to go through, this hadith book. We'll share a reminder, share some reflections, and just allow each other to, connect through that reminder. I think we can make excuses for a lot of things. We can put up roadblocks, but, really the mentality of the believer, of a Muslim, should be to always have a solution based, or always be like, hey, I know that didn't work, but I'm going to approach it this way. And so I think many of us can say, well, I don't feel like I belong to a mosque, or my mosque isn't welcoming. I don't think that's where it has to stop. I think there, inshallah, find another avenue, create that small community around you where you can give each other that spiritual boost, help each other grow, obviously within your immediate family, but inshallah, like even I think just 3-4 friends, it doesn't take a lot, and you'll see the impact of it. And I know people have started that and they see the fruits of it, right? And
I've also started as I've gotten older to see the importance of building relationships, not just kind of expecting, okay, I have a friend and they're there, but calling them, helping them with things, reaching out to them,
the
even
quality of that friendship,
yes,
right?
Yes.
And our parents had that. Where like someone was sick and they would just show up with food.
Yes.
Whereas we're now we'll like WhatsApp, like, hey, like, do you need anything? Is it okay if I call right now? And I'm guilty of this too. And I'm like, why don't I just show up with food? What's the big deal around that? And
we don't want to offend, but at the same time, the flip side is that people are very lonely, right?
And then I think we have to ask ourselves, like, were you ever offended? Like if someone just showed up with food, like that would mean so much to you, right? And so I think it's just really overcoming our own mental barriers that we pose and really are having an impact. Absolutely.
Someone might not reciprocate, but keep doing it, because you are building a relationship.
And your intention with it, right? So even, if that person can't cook for you, but like, and subhanAllah, like this, it's crazy how much the research is out there that the more you volunteer and give, how much you're the one receiving, right? Like the feeling you walk away with and the energy that you create for yourself. So it's really powerful. I think all of us have something, no matter how small, that will have an impact, but just start taking those steps. I think a lot of women are hurting and they're alone and they just feel lost about it. And I would say just, start one friend, like message her, make a point to meet up with her, have some meaningful conversation, and inshallah, like you'll see small tides change.
Thank you so much for sharing those insights, Razia.
My pleasure.